So, respected senior doctors and my dear friends, first of all, my sincere thanks and regards to Dr. Venkataraman sir for kind words of introduction, as usual, sir. And my sincere thanks to Dr. G. Vijayakumar sir for giving me an opportunity to be part of 3D Con. So, over the next 10 to 12 minutes, I'll just highlight upon gut hormones. So, let us have a look at it, what exactly this gut hormones. We all know the gastrointestinal hormones, which are otherwise known as gut hormones. They constitute a group of hormones which are secreted by the enteroendocrine cells, which is present in the stomach, pancreas and small intestine, that control the various functions of the digestive system. So these cells, the enteroendocrine cells, they do not form the glands, but they are spread throughout the digestive tract and they exert the autocrine and paracrine functions and actions that mitigate the gastrointestinal effects. So this gut hormones, they have a key role in the control of metabolism as they target the diverse tissues which are being involved in the things. And as I told before, these are produced by the scattered cells which are found on the length of the intestinal epithelium, and these gut hormones generate signals that are related to the rate of nutrient absorption, the composition of the luminal milia and the integrity of the epithelial barrier. And the nutrient sensing by the enteroendocrine cells involves a major range of signaling pathways, including the G protein coupled receptors, the nutrient transporters and the ion channels. So with this short definition of gut hormones, what exactly they have a role? What are the functions or what are the role of gut hormones? They have a control of the intestinal function. They have a role in the insulin secretion and nutrient accumulation or assimilation, and finally some amount of role in the amount of food intake what we take. So what are the different types of gut hormones? As Dr. Venkataraman said, there are numerous number of gut hormones. So now a few types of things. What are the hormones? Gut hormones are the gastrin, cholecystokinin, secretin, GAP and the ghrelin. And some type of candidate regulators, the motilin, the pancreatic polypeptide, the neurotensin, and some are in the form of neurotransmitters, the paracrine hormones in the form of VAP, the somatostatin, and some part of cholecystokinin also act as a neurotransmitters. So what exactly this gut hormones have a role in the glucose homeostasis? So we all know the cholecystokinin, it reduces the gallbladder, increases the gallbladder contraction, it increases the GIT motility, and also it increases the pancreatic exocrine things. What about the secretin hormone? So it increases the pancreatic exocrine section. So we all know and we have been heard about the GAP, and the motilin also, it increases the gastric motility, and obistatin, which is a gut hormone, it increases the food ingestion. It also increases the sensing of the GLP-1 receptors, and it also reduces the lipolysis in adipocytes. So these are the hormones with respect to the things. The other aspect of the things, the ghrelin, which increases the hunger homeostasis. So what about the metabolic actions of gut hormone? So we all know the glucose dependent action of this thing. So one side of things, the GLP-1 and the GAP, which has on the glucose sensing. The other aspect of things, the ghrelin, via the enhanced pancreatic somatostatin secretion, it inhibits the insulin release. So this is the other part of the gut hormones, how it acts on the metabolism of our body. So the role of incretin hormones in glucose homeostasis. So we all know how it has a role in the glucose regulation. It stimulates the insulin secretion from the beta cells in a glucose dependent manner, and also suppresses the glucose release from the islets alpha cells. What about the gastrointestinal effects? So it regulates the gastric emptying, feeling of satiety and fullness. So these hormones are secreted in response to the food intake, and they help to regulate the post-meal glucose homeostasis. Sorry. So what is the incretin effect? So just a complicated biochemical thing. Only thing is we all know the role of SGLT2 enzyme, what it exactly thinks. So once the glucose absorption across the intestinal epithelium, which has been driven by this SGLT2, that has been the reason for the elevated plasma glucose, and it triggers the elevation of cytoplasmic calcium. So one thing is, these things, when they couple to the GLP-1 via the cyclic AMP, they have a amplified insulin secretion, enabling the body to respond to the glucose levels. So this is the thing what exactly happens in metabolism. So what is the role of the gastrointestinal hormones? These hormones, including the cholecystokinin, the glucose dependent neurotropic polypeptide, the GLP-1, everything, they released in response to the meal what we take, as I told before. It has a huge role in the gastric emptying, and also the postprandial glycemia, and also the amount of energy intake by the various signaling pathways. It either stimulates the thing or suppresses via the glucagon things. So these are the various pathways how it acts on the things. So a few things about the GLP-1. I am not going into detail of each and every aspect of things, just to highlight the thing. These GLP have a huge role in the regulation of body weight and glucose metabolism, and it has both direct and indirect effects on the energy and glucose metabolism. So the GLP-1 has multiple desirable effects. We all know it has an efficacious glucose lowering via various aspects of things. Second thing is, it has a huge impact on the weight loss, thereby lowering the body weight, and also it's been a potential to halt the progression of the disease to further complications. So this thing relates the influence of the gut hormones, how it says the relation between the brain and the gut. So the neuronal appetite signaling, what it happens in the thing. If you just focus upon the thing, the NPY and AGRP, it has an oxygenogenic things which stimulates the second order neurons, which is present in the hypothalamus. The other aspect of thing is POMC, which has an anoxygenic pathway. So it suppresses the thing. So both things acts on the second order neurons, which is present in the hypothalamus, thereby reducing the food intake in the things. So this is a complicated thing which demonstrates the relationship between the brain and the kidney, gut, how the signaling pathways acts in the brain in action to the food what we take. So these hormones provides feedback control of the gastric emptying. Anaerobic hormones, they enhance the satiety, whereas the oxidorexigenic effects of other hormones, including the candidate receptors like motilin, which has been secreted by the proximal small intestine, and the insulin-like polypeptide, which has been produced in the distal colon and the rectum, with increased levels of secretion under conditions of calorie restrictions. So a few things about the cholecystine. So it reduces the cholesterol levels, and also it has been a huge impact in the signaling pathway, and it suppresses the various cholesterol synthesis, stimulating and finally reducing the circulating cholesterol levels. This is this rough schematic explanation how it acts on the hepatocytes, and finally how it reduces the cholesterol absorption, thereby it has a role in reducing the circulating cholesterol levels. And this thing is how the various density of the endocrine cells secreting cholecystokinin, GLP-1 and other things, they maintain a low secretory profile during the fasting. The interaction between the intraluminal contents and the enteroendocrine cells during the digestive process, they represent the main driver of the secretion of the GA hormones. So later these hormones, when they released from the enteroendocrine cells in various regions, are recognized as key regulators of the energy intake and also the postprandial glucose metabolism. So with this background, how they target the diabetic therapeutics. So we all know these gut hormones, they address the majority of the omnious octet. If you just see, they have a impact on the beta cells by reducing the insulin secretion, on the small intestine through the incretin effect, on the liver by increasing the hepatic glucose production, on the adipose by increasing the lipolysis, on the brain via the neurotransmitter dysfunction, and the kidneys via the SGLT2 inhibitors, the glucose reabsorption is increased, and on the muscles by reducing the glucose uptake. So they address the omnious octet. So we have various amount of trials to justify the things we have been hearing for a long time. The Pioneer clinical trial program, which has clearly demonstrated the oral semaglutide how it has a significant glycemic reduction. And also this thing further attenuates the role of the things. A few words about the tirzepatide. So they have demonstrated significant change in the HbA1c and body weight. And they have a multiple things which has a huge role to play in the management of type 2 diabetes in future. So in addition to the glycemic control, this tirzepatide have shown a better mean variation in systolic blood pressure control and also a positive kidney outcome in the SURPASS trial. So I am just skipping to things. So what is new, or what are the new findings in addition to tirzepatide? So the doses were superior to placebo and they did not increase the odds of hypoglycemia, and the incidence of GI adverse events with tirzepatide was similar with the other GLP-1 receptor agonist but was increased against placebo. So these were the newer findings other than the things when compared to the things. And finally, they had a significant reductions with tirzepatide, and it was dose dependent ranging from 1.8 to 2.6 and significantly greater than achieved by the other comparative things. A few words about the newer molecules. This retatrutide effectively reduces the body weight in the patients with obesity. If you just see the things over a period of time, nearly 18% and nearly 24.2% reduction with 12 milligram of retatrutide, which has a huge influence in the management of obesity. And this oxynomodulin is an endogenous gut hormone that acts on both GLP-1 and glucagon receptors. They reduce the food intake and increase the energy expenditure, and this mesatodate oxynomodulin analog is currently in the clinical development and reported to be estimated at doses up to 10 milligram and has a huge impact of things. And this another molecule which had a favorable safety profile and clinically meaningful reduction in blood glucose in a Chinese patients with type 2 diabetes. So the complementary actions of gut hormones receptors, they combine to achieve desirable therapeutic outcomes. So when you combine both things, it has a huge impact. So triple agonism, more is better. When you combine the things, they also show promising preclinical benefits in a model of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. At present, no clinical trial or study results are available in this class of triple agonist. So with this, I just end my talk, a nutshell of gut hormones. Thank you.